Good day everyone. Good day ma'am. My name is Shine Makadisang from BSBA 2, major in Marketing Management, Section 1. Today, I will continue our group report, which is individual income taxation. I will discuss the business tax. Business tax, aside from income tax, individuals engaged in business or exercise of a profession are also required to pay a business tax, which is either a 3% percentage tax or a 12% value-added tax. Types of business taxpayers. Number 1, exempt business, not subject to VAT or percentage tax. Examples: businesses selling agricultural products, agricultural contract growers, book publishers, or bookstores. Number 2, business is specifically subject to other percentage taxes, not subject to VAT but subject to percentage tax of various rates. The examples are common carriers by land such as taxi, jeepney, bus, and car for hire. Second is operators of cockpits, cabarets, clubs, J-Ally, or horse race track. The third is the vatable businesses, or the other businesses. Vatable businesses either pay 12% value-added tax if their annual sales exceed 3 million pesos or when they registered as VAT taxpayers. 3% general percentage tax if their annual sales do not exceed the 3 million pesos and did not option to voluntarily register as VAT taxpayers. Normally, businesses or professional practitioners start small as non-VAT taxpayers. As their business or practice gains traction and reach the 3 million pesos VAT threshold, they are mandatorily required to register as VAT taxpayers. Covered businesses. Only vatable businesses who are below the 3 million pesos annual VAT threshold and did not register as a VAT taxpayer can option to be taxed under the 8% income tax. Thus, the option is not available to number 1, registered business taxpayers, number 2, exempt business taxpayers such as exempt businesses, businesses specifically subject to other percentage taxes. 3. Individuals receiving income not subject to business tax, such as first partners receiving share in net income of a general professional partnership. Second, co-owners receiving share of income in co-owned properties. The third, ventures receiving share in net income of an exempt joint venture. And the fourth one is heirs of beneficiaries of trust receiving income distribution from estates or trust. The tax basis. The 8% optional income tax shall be based upon the gross sales or gross receipt of the individual taxpayer that is subject to 3% percentage tax. Other income subject to regular tax are added to the basis. Pure business or professional income earner. When we say pure business or professional income earner, yung sa may pure business, yun po is yung mga taong self-employed or yung pinagkukunan nila ng income is yung business talaga na kanila. Business na owned by themselves. And the professional income earner naman is, examples are the doctors or the other professionals. For pure business or professional income earners, the use of the 8% income tax would effectively deny the individual taxpayer of his 250,000 pesos annual income exemption, the same being embedded in the regular tax table. Due to this, the 8% income tax shall be computed from the basis net of 250,000 pesos. As you can see on the illustration, assume a taxpayer who is purely engaged in business had sales of 2 million pesos, 100,000 pesos other income subject to regular tax, and expenses of 840,000 pesos. The 8% income tax would be computed as the gross sales or gross receipts, 2 million pesos, add other taxable income subject to regular tax, which is 100,000 pesos. Total of 2,100,000 pesos. Then less the annual exempt income, which is 250,000 pesos. The net total would be 1,850,000 pesos. Then 1,850,000 pesos would be multiplied by optional income tax rate, which is 8%. And the 8% income tax would be 148,000 pesos. The mixed income earner. Mixed income earner, ibig sabihin po nun is yung mga employee sa isang company or professional income earner. Example nga po nun is yung katulad ng kanina, doctor or the professionals na may pinagkukunan ng income nila galing doon sa trabaho nila, and then nagkaroon sila ng sarili nilang business. Bali yung pinagkukuhanan nila ng income is dalawa. Yun po yung sinasabing mixed income earner. Mixed income earner compensation income is not subject to business tax. Hence, it cannot be subjected to the 8% income tax. Due to this, the income tax due from the compensation shall be separately determined using the income tax table, while the 8% income tax from the business or profession shall be separately computed. For this purpose, the classification rule as discussed in prior chapters must be observed. Since the use of the income tax table in computing the tax due from compensation effectively allow the taxpayer claim of 250,000 pesos annual income exemption as embedded in the tax table, there will be no more 250,000 pesos deduction allowable against the basis of the 8% income tax. Furthermore, if the amount of compensation income does not exceed 250,000 pesos, the unutilized deduction cannot be deducted against business income since the train law did not contemplate a deduction crossover. Illustration 1. A mixed income earner realized 920,000 pesos from compensation, 2 million pesos in sales, 100,000 pesos other income subject to regular tax, and incurred 480,000 pesos in expenses. The income tax due under the 8% income tax option shall be computed as taxable compensation income, 920,000 pesos, less the lower tax bracket in tax table, which is 800,000 pesos. The residual income would be 120,000 pesos. It would be 120,000 multiplied by incremental tax rate, which is 30%. And the tax due would be 36,000 pesos. The income tax due on compensation income would be 166,000 pesos. The gross sales or gross receipts, 2 million pesos. Add other income subject to regular tax, which is 100,000 pesos. And the total is 2,100,000 pesos. 2,100,000 pesos would be multiplied by optional income tax rate, which is 8%. And the tax due would be 168,000 pesos. The total of income tax due would be 334,000 pesos. Next is the illustration number 2. A mixed income earner realized 2 million pesos in sales, 100,000 pesos in other income subject to regular tax, and earned 150,000 pesos compensation from part-time employment. Taxable net income is 150,000 pesos, less the lower tax bracket in tax table, which is 250,000 pesos. 250,000 less 150,000 would be 100,000 pesos. Then, the gross sales or gross receipts, 2 million pesos. Add the other income subject to regular tax, which is 100,000 pesos, and the total is 2,100,000 pesos. 2,100,000 pesos will be multiplied to optional income tax rate, which is 8%. And the income tax due would be 168,000 pesos. This is the integrated illustration. Pure business or professional income earner. Mr. Cardenas, a proprietor of a furniture shop, recorded the following income statement in 2021. Ang net sales of finished goods, net of 18,000 peso, 18,000, which is the creditable withholding tax, is 2,382,000 pesos. Ang kanyang sales of scraps and trimmings is 200,000 pesos. Now, pag-a-add po natin sila, and it would total of 2,582,000 pesos. Then, ileless natin ang cost of sales or the services, which is 1,200,000 pesos. The gross income from business or the profession would be 1,382,000 pesos. Then, ito naman po yung mga additional other income. Yung dividend income, 12,000 pesos. Gain from sale of stocks, net of capital gains tax, is 68,000 pesos. The interest income from deposits, 16,000 pesos. And the gain on sale on machinery held for 6 years is 40,000 pesos. Gain on sale on bonds held for 2 years is 20,000 pesos. And the interest income from bonds is 14,000 pesos. Now, yun po ay ating i-add lahat. And the total is 170,000 pesos. Ang total income niya is 1,552,000 pesos. Then, ileless natin yung administrative and selling expenses, which is 600,000 pesos. Now, ang kanyang net income is 952,000 pesos. The regular tax option. The 2021 taxable net income of Mr. Cardenas shall be computed as follows. Net sales, revenues, receipts, fees is 2,382,000 pesos plus the 18,000 pesos. 2,400,000 pesos ang total. Then, i-add natin ng other taxable income from operations and scrap sales. 200,000 pesos. The total sales or the revenues or receipts or fees would be 2,600,000 pesos. Then, less the cost of sales or services, 1,200,000 pesos. Now, the gross income from business or the profession would be 1,400,000 pesos. Gain on sale of machinery is 40,000 pesos. Gain on sale of bonds, 20K times 50% minus, equivalent to long term is 10,000 pesos. The interest income from bonds is 14,000 pesos. And the total is 64,000 pesos. The total gross income would be 1,464,000 pesos. And less the allowable deductions from business expenses, which is 600,000 pesos, the taxable net income would be 864,000 pesos. Under the regular tax option, he would pay the following for 2021. Taxable net income, 864,000 pesos, less the lower limit of the income bracket where the taxable income qualifies, 800,000 pesos. Then the excess is 64,000 pesos. 64,000 pesos would be multiplied by the bracket marginal rate, which is 30%. And the 30% of 64,000 is 19,200. Now, the income tax due would be 149,200. Yun po ay sa regular income tax. Then, next naman po is the 3% business tax. Ang net sales or revenues, receipts or fees is 2,600,000 pesos. Multiply by percentage tax rate which is 3%. And the total percentage tax due would be 78,000 pesos. The total taxes under the regular tax option would be 227,200 pesos. The regular income tax would be paid in 3 quarterly tax filing and an annual income tax return. The 3% percentage tax will be paid in 4 quarterly percentage tax returns. Now, dito naman po tayo sa the 8% income tax option. Under the 8% income tax option, he would pay the following. Total sales or revenues and receipts or fees is 2,600,000 pesos. Gain on sale of machinery is 40,000 pesos. Gain on sale of bonds, 20,000 times 50%. The long term, 10,000. Interest income from bonds is 14,000 pesos. Now, the total of that would be 64,000 pesos. And the total gross income is 2,664,000. Lilas natin ang individual income exemption and income tax, which is 250,000 pesos. It would total of 2,414,000 pesos. Now, 2,414,000 pesos would be multiplied by optional income tax rate, which is 8%. And the income tax due would be 193,120 pesos. While it appears that the 8% option in the illustration, it is not always the case. At the start of the year wherein the option is made, you could not tell for sure which option would yield the lesser tax, except only if you have accurate information systems that enables accurate forecasting of future performance. That's all po, and thank you.